Graham Streeter, the director for this film, loves to work in every position that there is for filmmaking, whether that be screenwriting, directing, producing, DPing, editing. And I thought that's how a filmmaker was. Starting out as a filmmaker, you do every position and try to get really good at it so that when you get on set, you can specialize and you can get onto different positions that you want, right? And I had conversations with Graham, and he always told me that he liked to work in all those different positions because it felt like the vision that he had in his head would be more in tune with that vision rather than having input from all these different people and changing that vision and making it something that it wasn't originally. And that's there's power to that too. Like, I know screenwriters or even writers, any kind of writers, they'll put their screenplay out and they have no creative control over how it comes down to it, and that vision that they had in the head is totally different. It could have been a 10 out of 10 movie. It goes down to something that's not even the same. So there's a lot of power to being a master of all those cards. It's one of those things where you want to focus on directing the actors and their emotional states and their acting, but you also got to focus on getting the right shot. The editor in your head is connecting these shots through the DP. You want to make sure that what is in the set is what was originally planned. And it's one of those things of just like, it's really hard to keep focus of all those different things, and I wouldn't be able to do it. There has to come some practice into it, a lot of practice. And I was fortunate enough to meet Graham when he's had a line of work where he's been doing this over and over again, where he's doing those different positions where it's not chaotic. There's a certain type of oil to the machine when he's working on it because he's done it for so long that it didn't feel like he was an amateur. He felt advanced.
The overall strategy for planning the production schedule was to make sure that each scene ramped up to the next. We needed to have the energy climax at the end, and we try to shoot as linear as possible. Besides a couple of days where we needed to be outdoors and the weather permitting, but we wanted to make sure that the actors lived through the film as opposed to jumping around and having to change emotions and mind frames. So I think the linear scheduling of the production really helped the film progress in a very natural way.
We could do this many times. I'm going to do full coverage on you, and then full coverage on you.
Cool.
That's a medium and a close-up.
There was some days where the day was organized where it was a short day, but each scene was super high emotion, and those days would sometimes take longer just because we wanted the actor to put out their emotion in those scenes, and we wanted to have enough footage to make sure that we have their 100%, 110% for some of those scenes where it was necessary. And the days were organized based on emotion. I felt like there wasn't, some days weren't too emotionally swaying. It all felt kind of like the same, just to make it a little bit easier for the acting, right? Just Graham Streeter has worked on different films, and he knows that swaying of emotions for actors sometimes takes a lot more than having the same emotion throughout the day and making it believable rather than just swaying each time and not make it feel real.
Almost a year ago that we started filming, exactly, I talked about this whole process feeling a lot like doing a play, because a lot of that had to do with Graham being the director, but also being the DP and the cameraman. So something that I think he wanted to make sure was accomplished was that he could get into a rehearsal process, specifically with the four of us, and go over, every scene and every section and every piece of blocking, so that we could have this normal director-actor relationship, because once we started shooting, he wasn't going to be able to fill that role quite as much. He was going to have much more attention on the technical aspects of, camera angles and lighting and sound. And so, not that we didn't have a great crew to be support for that, but that is where his attention was, being drawn from. By the time we got to the shoot, it made the shoot go by so much quicker. You know, it actually, I think that's the thing that stood out the most to me, was just how quickly the days were going by and how much time we put into rehearsing certain scenes with so much, you know, emotional inner life. And in 15 minutes, that was it. What we just did was it.